Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to this presentation. Allow me introduce ourselves. My name is Hilda Octavia, and then my partner.
Saya Kalisanur Rahma.
Okay, today I'd like to discuss about the politics of language. Yes, the first slide will be explained by me. Identity, politics, and language. Often issue involved men seem hardly what the intention they get, yet what behind the seem actually quite serious. We start by describing a number of such cases in China. Okay, in China, the television cartoon saw featuring Tom and Jerry. The wearing cat and mouse was a big hit until 2004. Tom and Jerry spoke a local dialect like Shanghainese. Then the Beijing government put a stop to it and starting the television program in the local dialect must end to be referred by Mandarin. The official language completing matters is the fact that Chinese dialects are so different from each other that they mean be considered separate language in other parts of the world. For example, thank you is she here in Putonghua, and shizi in the Shanghai's. This day, Tom and Jerry are not as easy to understand, and maybe not as fun is some religion of China. Okay, maybe you think, okay, di sini tuh menjelaskan ya bahwasanya ada sebuah kasus di Cina dulu, yaitu penayangan di televisi sebuah televisi itu penayangan Tom and Jerry yang menggunakan dialek khusus gitu, dialek tertentu. Dan di situ pemerintahannya itu meng-stop atau meng-cut tayangan tersebut gara-gara menggunakan dialek tertentu karena tidak sesuai dengan bahasa menggantikannya dengan bahasa Mandarin, yaitu bahasa resmi dari bahasa resmi di Cina tersebut. Nah, di situ mungkin kalian bertanya, why should the government of China care how the cartoon and card must speak? So, no doubt, the most critical of the answer to test question can be summed up in one word, that is identity. Dialect difference are use the strings group of people. Difference among language accomplish the same things. Everyone knows that people use language to get idea across to other people. But it is also true that whenever we speak in one language or dialect, rather than another, we are displaying an infinity with one social group and distancing ourselves from other. This identity making functional of speech is it at least the importance as the communicative one. Social identity is tied to loyalty, and government are very much concerns with where with the loyalties of their citizen lie. Heart's language is often a very big part of politics. Jadi kenapa tadi Cina melarangnya itu karena identitas dari suatu negara tersebut, karena di Cina itu kan tidak semuanya tahu gitu menggunakan bahasa ataupun tahu tentang dialek tersebut. Jadi menghentikannya karena itu tadi dialek tersebut. Jadi menggantikannya dengan bahasa yang resmi yang sudah ada di tersebut. Nah, untuk dialek sendiri yaitu dialek sendiri itu sekumpulan kelompok yang ada di suatu wilayah tersebut. Bagian dari wilayah tersebut. Oke, next. Okay, concept. One character of being a nationality is the importance of symbol of the national identity. There are three most important symbol of nationality identity there are religions, territory, and language. Language is language is very often of critical importance to nationalities, and they defend their language with great energy. Of course, ethnic groups speak language too, but groups at this end of the continuum do not see their language as critical to their identity. And they often give up their language after several generation in favor of another language that seems more politically or economy adventures. This is a major mechanism from language loss around the world. Another language is like a national flag. Its blue is more symbol than functional. A nation's or office language is comparable to be ourselves or turn towards national railroad. Railroad's primary purpose is functional, getting people and goods from one part of the country to another. In the exam, the national language does not even have to be speak as long as it represents the identity of the people. Okay, next. Language standardization. Linguistic search has led to an entirely different conclusion. When language is examined closely, it's turned over than standard from there are no better than other forms. There is no scientific reason of the purpose. She's not ready after she ain't ready. As far as communicating proposition, one will be quiet as well as concrete, and she ain't ready is concrete. Only because it is customary to disparage the front end. This custom is reinforced by the instrument of standardization, grammar books, dictionary, and the teaching of language used in the school. Language called this presentative language and concrete it with their own approach to language, which is more like that. Why the Cramsey would study chemical structure. Language study how language work in its natural setting, and the use of language by educated people is not considered there more or less significant than used by less educated people. Okay, next, minimum and arbitrary standard. Minimum standard imply a scale of measurement. A minimum standard has to be met or exceeded. Okay, I'm sorry. Minimum start has to be met or exceeded of acceptability. Some point of the scale in the design as the minimum point. It is acceptable. Any blue below the point is acceptable. Safety standard for automobiles are minimum standards. Arbitrary standards are entirely different. They are fair to unmentioned characteristic of behavior. How a coach and U.S. port dresses one camp, they follow arbitrary standards. The absurd is that concrete English is a concrete one in the sense of the people. The people have agreed that it's a concrete. Arbitrary standard of concreteness change, others slowly, as they have done in the past and will do again. In the meantime, there are social penalties from not allowing the arbitrary standard in the circumstance where they are sports to be observed. Okay, next. Okay, this is not stand language Ebonic. Ebonic, it is language who have studied the structure of Ebonic from the reaction to be not affected, but discovering not less under careful analysis, it's actually turned our some aspect of Ebonic allow finer distinction and verbal expression that standard English does. For example, standard English has two forms that describe action, and includes the present. Exampled by she walks and she is walking. Ebonic has their constructing from for the same area of meaning. She walking, she walking, she be walking She work in the Ebonic is a close approximation of the meaning of she works is standard English. She is the sort of person who characteristical works. In some contexts, it's mean she has a job. She has a job. She working in Ebonic means much the same as she is working in standard English. At the moment of unit range, the person referred to as she could be observed to be walking. Okay, next. The politics of standardization. Language standardization look like after in counts a matter of style and conversation. Some kind of speech and especially writing required the use of the language all agree on one set of the variants so that all language in those genres will be understood by everyone and everyone will find this spoken or written. Text and sexually speaking. In short, the standard of language are the treated as minimum standard. There's of the arbitrary standard there actually are. Okay, next. Okay, the next will be explained by Harisa.
Language and dialect. Another quick distinct notion of the difference between language and dialects is the idea that dialects are less developed than language. Is a linguistic variety has been standardized and has a literary tradition associated with it. Then it is a language, otherwise it is a dialect. This definition is frequently used in the media when someone writes about the number of language and dialects. In the certain part of the world, many linguists find this approach undesirable because they know there are hundreds of languages with intricate and fascinating grammatical and pronunciation properties comparable with anything you would find it in the commonly studied European language. They would be looked to the that system status as language simple because no one has yet written a grammar or dictionary for them, or produced books of 40 or literally purpose. The politics of language and dialects. The lack of definitive criteria for deciding what is or is not a language allow people to decide what is or is not a language for political reason. Sometimes this is done using criteria that award language status only when the linguistic system has sufficient standardization and literary development. Sometimes a linguistic system can go from being a language to being a dialect and back to being a language again, depending on the political environment. One particularly dramatic example of this is the case of Serbian and Croatian. For past 150 years or more, there has been controversy over whether Serbian and Croatian are separate languages or whether they are variants of a single Serbo-Croatian language. It is clear that there is very little separation between the two, mostly some vocabulary difference and different writing systems. Official English. In United States, one manifestation of the politic of language is the movement to amend the Constitution or the at least pass a federal law making English the official language of the United States. Two facts about the United States partially shape debates about language. First, there is no legislatively designed official language. Toleration for the widespread maintenance of language other than English varies with history, circumstance, large influence of immigrant spark and basis of the necessity for immigrant to learn English and a basis of Americanization, including learning English, was strong around 1000 when there was a perceived influx of immigrants for its earned and Southern Europe. Language right in the United States, with very few exceptions, or the Native American Language Act is one. There are no laws reserving language right in the United States. As a result, the private sector responds in various ways to the presence of speakers of language other than English. In Washington, D.C., area some companies and government agencies can employ considerable numbers of Central American immigrants asking their monolingual English supervisor to learn at English some word at and pressure in Spanish. Bilingualism. One problem is that bilingualism is not widely viewed a possible solution. The majority of Americans speak only English, and monolingualism seems normal to them. Many Americans have studied foreign language in high school or college, but have not become proficient in them, even though they may have received high grades in language classes. This leaves Americans with a vague idea that most people can have only one language at a time. In fact, the vast majority of immigrants to the United States do become monolingual in English within three generations. Furthermore, this applies as well to more recent immigration from Latin American or Asian as it did to immigrants from Europe around. Functioning immigration. More direct evidence of the rapid transition from Spanish to English come from telephone survey of Latinos, Asians in the United States. The first was conducted by the Washington Post, the Henry G. Cassier Family Foundation, and Harvard University in summer of 1999. Goldstein and Suro 200,000. He found that 73% of first generation Latino immigrants spoke only Spanish or more Spanish than English at home, and 6% spoke only or mostly English, or the rest unused but language equally. Yet 78% of third generation descendants of Latino immigrants used or mostly English, and only 1% used or Spanish or more Spanish than English. Group identity. In general, Americans admire people who knows more than one language. An American from an English-speaking background who comes fluent in another language, even she or he speak with an accent. In considering intelligent, Americans are happy to have their children study of a linguistic language in high school and college, and even study abroad for a part of their college career. On the other hand, an American from a Spanish-speaking background who learned English but continues to speak Spanish within the family and local community imbued with suspicion. Controlling the content of speech. The content of speech sometimes becomes a political issue as well. Two sub-language content issues are: number one, blasphemy, insult against sacred individual or items, and cursing, irreverent use of religious terms or use of term considered obscene. And number two, hate speech, threats or intimidation against individual or groups based on social characteristics like race. Housing in related to language standardization, it is a violation of social standards, like saying "I'm about more serious." But this is only part of it. Government try to control blasphemy and cursing or hate speech, not to encourage desired identities, but to protect the public from effort to important values. blasphemy, and thrashing. The conclusion has not been so clear when it comes to the public use of curse words in two different incidents in the states of Michigan in the US. Men were convicted of cursing in public. One man had fallen out of a canoe and responded with a string of curse words is place where children could hear him. He was fined, required to work several days in a child care program. The other man was accused of cursing as a school bus driver who, to, who he thought had mistreated his daughter. He has also charged with assault and disturbing the peace, and was sentenced 90 days in jail. In both cases, judge found the control of state law against cursing constitutional, apparently considering the harm caused by children hearing the cursing to afford the right to freedom of speech as it might have applied in this case. Hate speech. Hate speech is in Europe are more likely to make speech against a group illegal. The, the stance in the United States has been that a crime must have occurred in order for there to be a legal penalty. It might be illegal, for example, to intimidate an individual Buddhist on account of his or her religion, because a specific person has suffered harm. To speak against all Buddhists, on the other hand, is constitutionally protected speech. It is clearly far from simple to untap to balance a desire to define freedom of speech against the harm some kinds of speech might cause. Government has have an obligation to protect people's freedoms, but they also have a responsibility to protect them from harm. They sometimes have to do less of one to do more of the other. How you evaluate this set of inevitable colored by your general political views?
Okay, thank you. So thank you for your listening. And then maybe you have question. Any question, guys? Okay, Ayuna, please what's your question?
I wanna ask, how does language relate to politics? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ayuna. Oke, lanjut aja, Farisa.
Okay, I wanna ask about what is the connection between politics and language? Thank you.
Oke. Any question? Okay, maybe I wanna answer Ayuna question. The question: who does language relate to politics? The answer is as language from the basis of communication. Politics is through altered by language. Political language is performance in order from the public to have positive sentiments towards a part. A politician will carefully craft the manifesto in order to convince the reader of their credibility. That's answer. Are you understanding, Ayuna?
Yes,
I,
yeah. Thank you, Yoga.
okay.
I wanna answer Harisa question. What is the connection between politics and language? Language allows for people in a very large number to communicate with each other in a large scope to the effect that a state is formed. As language forms the basis of communication, politics is thus affected by language. Political linguistics is a performance.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you, Kalisa.
Okay. I think that's enough. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.